Keynote speaker of the inaugural Research Symposium of NDC, Mr. Lalit Veeratunga, Chief of Defence Staff, Commander of the Army, Commander of the Navy, and Commander of the Air Force, Vice Chancellor of KDU, Defence Attaches, Defence Advisors of the friendly foreign nations, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, eminent scholars, senior officers of the armed forces and police, course participants of the National Security and Strategic Studies course, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I consider it as a great pleasure and a privilege to be present here today at the inaugural Research Symposium of National Defence College, which takes place with the participation of the senior officers of Armed Forces and Department of Police of the first ever National Security and Strategic Studies course conducted at the National Defence College, Sri Lanka. Therefore, I take this opportunity to extend my gratitude to the incumbent commandant, the founding figure of the National Defence College, Sri Lanka, the highest seat of military education in the country, for the invitation extended for me to take part in this event as the chief guest. Thank you. It is my foremost understanding that the advancement of the research culture through this inaugural research symposium at NDC is providing a golden opportunity for academia and senior officers of the armed forces and police to share their research findings and expertise in different facts in the spectrum of national security. Further, the provision of the opportunity for the exploration of wider area of research expertise would be absolutely beneficial for all the course participants of NDC to broaden their horizons through this academic exposure. The theme selected for this inaugural symposium of NDC, Exploring Multinodal Security Dynamics, is apparently a very pertinent theme that would enable the opportunity to probe through the dynamic nature of the security apparatus, which is evolving day by day. In that, it is promising to see the variety and diversity of the research subjects, such as ancient concepts of war, international relations, economic and social issues, nuclear and other weapon systems, foreign policy, and geopolitics. All these are a perfect combination of subjects to be dwelt during this sort of a high forum on national security at a strategic level that would enable to share and discuss all military subjects at the backdrop of international relations and strategic studies. Therefore, I sincerely believe that all of you would be able to explore your understandings on these pertinent disciplines at the best during this endeavor. Ladies and gentlemen, the world is changing fast, and the threats and challenges that we face are also evolving day by day. At a time of global independence, the contemporary security threats and challenges such as climate changes, global terrorism, proliferation of weapons of mass destruction, economic crisis, famine, infectious diseases, cyber attacks, etc., are global in their scope, transitional in their efforts, and however, can never be solved by military means only. It needs a synchronized application of all possible spheres stemming under all other elements of national power with the military element in order to gain success, as the crises today have crossed the identified borders of conventional war fighting, in which the friend and the foe are already known. National security, as defined, is the ability of a country's government to protect its citizens, economy, and other institutions. As of today, The scope of security in the context of non-military nature revolves around the provision of economic security, political security, energy security, homeland security, cyber security, human security, and environmental security in a broader context. Accordingly, to ensure the national security, the governments rely on differing modes of tactics, including political, economic, and military power, along with diplomacy, that are commonly known as elements of national power. Therefore, it is evident that the national security has quietly moved away from its traditionally centered approach of defense and military protection of sovereignty and territorial integrity in protecting the country from external invasions as well as internal rebellions, to a more people-centered approach of security and safety of citizens, which is a late 20th century phenomenon. These conceptual developments that had taken place have not only expanded the boundaries of national security, but also resulted in blurring the very important distinction between national security and human security. On an individual level, in the context of Sri Lanka, without any exceptions, national security dynamics today includes managing global pandemics, mitigating and adapting to climate change, maintaining clean water, maintaining reliable food supplies, and protecting property of individuals and communities, dealing with economic and political dilemmas, as well as the ability to protect the state sovereignty influenced by a number of international actors. In the 21st century, the Indian Ocean, together with the Western Pacific Ocean, has come to the forefront of global trade and geostrategic competition. Sri Lanka, being a country at the most significant location in the Indian Ocean, has become vulnerable for arms and drugs trafficking, illegal, unregulated and unreported fishing on the man-made cycle, whereas the global warming and resulting sea level rises and water anomalies, increased ocean pollution and impact on marine ecosystems, depleted fisheries, rising of ocean temperatures and salinity as natural issues are creating problems in the Indian Ocean that in turn has created a severe impact on security of Sri Lanka in the Indian Ocean. Ladies and gentlemen, at this context, Sri Lanka has to keep its eyes and minds open to counter all such threats that are at her doorstep. Today, at the backdrop of a challenging economy, along with backward political ideologies in place, Sri Lanka has ever recorded its worst ever status in its history after independence. Faced by a turmoil emanated from separatist ideology, backed by groups of international actors eager for power among minority political parties, Sri Lanka's national security demands a greater attention, unlike during the entire history of the country ever since independence. Therefore, I hope this endeavor made by the National Defence College would undoubtedly pave the way towards stemming novel perspectives in facing these challenges ahead of the country in ensuring everlasting peace and security in the country. In that endeavor, with regard to the importance of promoting research culture, the NDC is instrumental in developing core values of national security in a result-oriented standpoint. Furthermore, I am well certain that the course participants of the National Security and Strategic Studies course in NDC, with their interest, commitment, and knowledge in diverse academic disciplines and outside researchers' inputs, would contribute immensely to this inaugural Research Symposium theme. The knowledge that you are going to unearth and share during this conference would be of immense benefit not only to the academic community but to the entire humankind to make their lives better. Most importantly, beyond doubt, the ideas which would be shared by the keynote speaker, Mr. Lalit Veeratunga, today would be of an immense value to pave the way for the researchers to impart their respective visions and philosophies on the year's exclusive and timely pertinent theme of the symposium. Therefore, let me express my most sincere appreciation to Mr. Lalit Veeratunga for committing his valuable time to deliver the keynote speech today, and to the Commandant NDC and his team for inviting me for this occasion as the chief guest and giving me an opportunity to speak to all of you. Let me appreciate all the efforts and congratulate all of you for working your way towards a theme. Finally, I wish all the participants all the very best in their research endeavors and the NDC Research Symposium to be very successful every ways imaginable. Thank you very much. Thank you all.